Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. This was one of my top 5 games growing up, simply because I would play the Darth Vader prologue and get to the end after an hour, and then immediately start another new game and do it all over again. Truly one of the best introductions to a Star Wars game. And to my surprise, 15 years later, it still holds up very well in the marketplace of ideas. It's not a perfect game by any means. Get up, little bro. I broke him.
Hey, yo!
Ain't no way, brother.
Whoa.
But it did seem like it would be a pretty easy game to get the Platinum Trophy for sure. So I started playing it right here live on YouTube. It was mostly to see if I was willing to come back to streaming after like a year, so only a few people showed up. That being said, I did enjoy streaming a lot again. And from now on, if you, the viewer, want to stay on top of when I go live for the next Platinum Trophy video, you can attempt to place your faith in the Force with YouTube's notification system, or you can follow me on Twitter where I tend to announce new videos and where I will announce upcoming streams. So let's see how it all went down. There's a ragtag bunch of trophies laid out in front of us this time. A total of 47 to be exact, plus 1 for the Platinum Trophy. 17 of those trophies are related to individual story mission completions and tutorial completions, so they're kind of impossible to miss. 25 of those trophies are related to defeating certain types of enemies or defeating enemies with certain kinds of attacks. And then the final freaky 5 trophies remaining have to do with collecting collectibles, obtaining all optional objectives in a single level, and getting increments of higher scores throughout all of the levels. So more miscellaneous in nature. A somewhat medium-sized rancor in the room is that the Force Unleashed has cheat codes that you can input at any point. But the developers were smart. They applied a trophy disabling feature after using cheat codes. But the broader community has found a way to exploit that and get around the disabling status effect.
They are still coming through.
We here at the Moonsout channel are committed to the principles of honesty and integrity. Therefore, we will not be using cheat codes nor exploits to reach our final destination, since that's the original intent by the developers. And from here, we begin our journey. So the Force Unleashed starts with 3 difficulty options on the table: Apprentice, Sith Warrior, and Sith Lord. Each of these difficulties have a trophy associated, but luckily beating the game on a higher difficulty will award you with the trophies beneath that difficulty retroactively, which is a nice touch. Once you finish that first playthrough, you unlock a difficulty that is 1 step further beyond Sith Lord, which is Sith Master. It also brings its own associated trophy. I have to beat the game not 1 time, but 2 times. I figured the best way to prepare for Sith Master difficulty is to immediately start playing on the Sith Lord difficulty. You know, how hard could it be, right? Surely I wouldn't have to play for a really long time just to get through it the first time. Well, I can't even get up. What is that hitbox? What the fuck, bro? What? Hi, Greedy. Can I get up? Damn. Well, how is that fucking fair? Like, what the fuck kind of level is this? Ooh. Did that just one-shot me? Hold on. That literally just one shot. Okay, I will be the first to admit I had a lot of trouble finding my footing in the first playthrough. But for a guy like me though, difficult is never impossible. Unless it's Jack 2 and not done. So beginning with the classic Prologue mission most of you probably remember, and accidentally blocking the PS3 pop-ups with my camera position, I claimed 3 trophies related to rapidly defeating 12 of my enemies for Frenzy first. Frenzy. Oh yeah, 1 trophy unlocked. Oh wait, my camera's blocking the trophies. Sith Frenzy second. Sith Frenzy. 2 trophies already. And then Sith Lord Frenzy last. 3 trophies already, and I can't see them. Taking these Wookiees to the vet with Vader and bringing down a stowaway Jedi, which the fight wasn't even close by the way, alright? Not even close, not even close. I earned Invasion for completing the prologue. So 4 trophies down in 1 mission, things are looking up for us. At this point, Starkiller is now all grown up, and he embarks on our first mission together as the controller holder and the saber holder. Our goal is to track down and destroy Clone Wars General and Jedi Master Rom Koda. After making my way through the TIE Fighter Factory, I was able to face down General Koda and reward us with 2 more trophies. Skilled, for what looks like the game making fun of me for dying, is actually getting 250,000 points in the level. And then finishing it up, I got Insurrection for completing the first Starkiller level, totaling us up to 6 trophies in the beginning. And if you weren't there live for the next one, you truly saved yourself some sanity. Here on Raxus Prime, a planet where ships go to die, and my soul, we're hunting down Jedi Outcast. And while I do also mean the game, I also mean Kazdan Pratis. Up there is one of the most bullshit, if not the most bullshit fight in the entire game, but don't want to get too ahead of myself, so let's take Raxus Prime 1 slice at a time. I did walk away with 2 trophies before the ending. Bully is repeating on 25 Jawas. It wasn't a challenge because it was easy peasy. And then I got the trophy called Pushed. This was for pressing the circle button on 100 enemies and then they die. The entirety of Raxus Prime took me well over 2 hours and 15 minutes to beat. The final boss by itself took a little over half of that total time. However mad it made me, as long as I kept fighting the RNG that was his brutal counterattacks despite being stunned by lightning, the frame 1 rapid force push attacks, 3, 4, the unblockables, and then the Titan robots between phases. I ended up looking up the strategy for this guy, and even still relying on good luck and tight timing, and still having to fight the Titan robots, I basically was reading that if I just stun with lightning and then force push him into pillars, I'll eventually whittle him down into a raisin where I can deliver the final blow. And I also got a really lucky level up that healed me to full when I had about a Lego Yoda's length worth of health left. Oh my god, that's the luckiest level up I've ever seen. Like I said, it was nearly an hour and a half of raw, unbridled pain, but we got there. And that gave us the trophy junkyard for a total of 9 trophies. The 3rd level was on a planet once ravaged by the Clone Wars, Felucia. During this level, I rounded up a grand total of 5 trophies before I finished the level for the 6th one. This planet features Felucian warriors and chieftains and stat boosters and long-range plants and even actual full-on rancors. It's pretty hard for sure, but at this point I'm getting more and more powers, more and more upgrade spheres, figuring out what I need to boost to do well, and I'm getting better at the game in general while having a bit more fun than level 2 overall. About a third of the way through, I got gripped. This is for defeating 100 enemies with the R2 button. One part of the level I was stuck on for a while got me a bunch of points for this trophy, Expert, and I was able to rack up 500,000 big ones here. And then just after that section, it begins the boss fight with Shaak Ti, where while battling some of her minions that she spawns in, I defeated them with lightning for a 2-in-1 trophy combo. Legend is for hitting 600,000 points in a single level, like the other point trophies, and Shocked is for defeating 100 enemies with the triangle button, easily the best button in the game. Defeating Shaak Ti in battle wraps up the level and gives us our 6th trophy for it, Jedi Hunt. This is the 15th total trophy for the conclusion of the first streaming day as well. Day 2 lasted about an hour longer than day 1 because I wanted to make a break for the ending. In the opening of level 4, this comes post-Vader murder, and by that I mean Vader murdered Starkiller after the Emperor found out about his existence. So Vader had him rebuilt, and retasked him to building the first rumblings of the rebellion that will later encapsulate Leia and Luke. Unfortunately, this level I earned no trophies for anything in particular, but we did have to rescue our pilot from stormtroopers so that we could find General Koda, which for some reason Starkiller believes is still alive. And he believes Koda can bring him to the rebels. This trophy is called Empirical for finishing the level, and it's a total of 16 out of 47 so far. Together, they track down Koda to the Cloud City of Bespin. Having a bit of a giggle with Koda while fighting off stormtroopers, jet troopers, Senate guards, scout troopers, and a Shadow Guard Force user, Starkiller and Koda were able to make it off Bespin, and this gave us our next trophy, Vapor Room, for a total of 17. Coda has revealed his contact with the rebels is none other than Bail Organa himself. Unfortunately, something's happened to something valuable of his on Kashyyyk. General Coda won't tell us right away, but in the mission, we find out it's fucking Leia Organa. Like literally, here she is an Imperial hostage on Kashyyyk, already causing trouble. Along the way, we ended up taking out a total of 150 stormtroopers, giving us cannon fodder as our next trophy. And it ended up taking a lot longer than it should have, but I did eventually knock down the mission for a trophy called Skyhook. This puts us at the grand total of 19 out of 47. Our return to Felucia was next up, because not only did they want to make us fight more Rancors, but also fight more ATSTs, and also walk through some of the nastiest level design I probably have ever seen in a video game. Like genuinely disgusting, genuinely stomach turning, actually repulsive. But I didn't really end up getting any trophies here other than the one for beating the boss, who was Shaak Ti's obviously evil looking apprentice, and we saved the Bail Organa from her. That one's called Infestation for beating the level. This is number 20 that came in about an hour and a half later after the last one. And once again, we return to a planet we've already been to. Raxus Prime is back on the chopping block, and this time, Vader told us to bring down a Star Destroyer in order to generate an audience from the Emperor. This is probably top 2 hardest missions in the game. It's really fucking long, and it throws a lot at you back to back to back.
More enemies?
And it's an ATST. It definitely lived up to its competitor, that being itself, Raxus Prime, the first time. And at the very tail end of the mission, I ended up beating so many Imperial enemies that I got the trophy Rebel Leader. This is for defeating 500 total Imperials across this entire save file. And even though it was at the tail end of the mission, there was still a boss fight with Proxy the training droid to get through, as well as bringing down that Star Destroyer with the Force, which is crazy, but it added on an extra hour of game time for this level. But eventually bringing it down, I got the Trophy Destroyer, our 22nd one on the list overall. And here it is, the final level. Vader has betrayed Starkiller. Big shocker.
You agreed to stay away! I lied.
So now, lost and betrayed, Starkiller must infiltrate an early version of the Death Star and bring down Palpatine and Vader to save his friends. I did get one trophy early on in this gauntlet of a room for destroying 10 ATSTs in total. That gave me the harder they fall. This marks the roughly halfway point on the trophy collection process, until I was finally able to reach the Emperor's chamber with Vader in it too. Vader separates me from the room and we begin the duel. In an actually surprisingly climactic and tough battle, I eventually get the edge over Vader, where you send him flying back into the Emperor's chamber. Here, the Emperor gives Starkiller one last tricky offer. He can either deliver Vader a killing blow and join the Empire's ranks, or you can reject him outright and battle the Emperor himself. My first gut reaction was to battle the Emperor head-on, and once you learn that you can parry and return his lightning attacks right back to him, the fight becomes so significantly easier than the Vader one that I had to do later on the harder difficulty. Even though I drained the Emperor's health bar and passed all the QTEs, of course I can't just stab him and bring an end to the chronological order of the movies, so instead they just give me 4 trophies. Redemption was for choosing to battle the Emperor instead of Vader. Apprentice, Sith Warrior, and Sith Lord for each of the 3 difficulty options available, adding up to a grand total of 27 trophies down on my first completed playthrough. But you and me? Oh boy, we've got 20 more trophies to talk about. Day 3 of the streaming, a lot of the trophies we were doing that day were a lot of the mindlessly grinding ones. First on the list was to go back to the Prologue. The reason is because Vader's level has a couple of secret trophies and also has a few points that can trigger infinite spawns on Wookiees to farm hella kill trophies. And also I apologize for the horrible bitrate on the next 9 trophies. I forgot to hit record and I didn't realize until 2 hours into the stream, and downloading the stream off YouTube chunked the quality into the vacuum of space. First thing on the list was killing 12 stormtroopers, specifically while playing as Vader. I don't know why specifically 12 stormtroopers, but it got us worst day shift manager ever for the 28th trophy. And then about 10 minutes after that, I got the trophy Grappled. This was for killing 100 enemies with grab attacks, which I think if you're Star Killer, that's pressing square and X together and getting a kill, but Vader's triangle button isn't lightning, but instead it's a force choke that also counts as a grapple as well. 5 minutes after that one, I got my 200th total Wookiee kill for the trophy Bosk, making that trophy count hit number 30. At this point, my mega ADHD kicked in. I was like, okay, now leave this place instead of continuing to grind. So I left that place.
So I might just finish out this level, then go back to the other save. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Okay.
I started running the first level as Star Killer over and over on the easiest difficulty on my first save file, which had all my powers to keep my attention a bit more engaged than it had been. And it wasn't for another half hour almost before I got my 100th kill with the lightning shield ability. Hardly 20 seconds later, I killed a couple of dudes with the force repulse ability, and that totaled up 100 kills with that one too, getting me the 32nd trophy repulse. I then sliced a bunch of droids, and that got me the next trophy, Proxy Won't Be Happy. Finishing the level with all the holocrons collected, score level reached, and the optional objective completed where you destroy TIE fighters, that gave me Corellian Star for doing all optional content in a single level. And then I diverted my attention onto the pause menu, where I remembered that there are training levels and combat modules that have trophies as well. I did all the training for trophy number 35, Sith training, and then somewhere around 15 minutes later I got Sith trials for beating all of the combat modules, and that's 36 trophies now, only about 11 more to go. And now I've finally hit my record button on my OBS and we can get back to some actual decent bit rates.
Wait. Oh, I just realized I wasn't even recording.
So around 40 minutes since the last trophy, I got my 500th kill with Force Lightning, giving me my renowned trophy Force Lightning Mastery. Then I went back to Prologue because I got bored again and I farmed Wookiees for a really long time on this bridge. At some point, I took home Force Push Mastery, and that's pressing the circle button enough times to get 500 kills with it.
Oh my god, we got it. Force Push Mastery. Now it's time for Saber Throw.
Around 10 minutes after that, I got 100 kills with lightsaber throws, adding Impaled to the collection. And no joke, after I hit 100, I just started counting. I had 400 more to get to Mastery, so in order to keep my brain preoccupied with something,
68, 369, 71, 72, 73. Goodbye.
I was pressing L2 square for probably 15 minutes straight by the end, where I finally popped the 40th trophy, Saber Throw Mastery. Then after, I tried to do repulses and grip throws as Vader for a while, but I got really bored again, so I went back to the first level in my original file and started running that one over again. Around an hour passed since my last trophy, and then painstakingly grinding my way through the level with the lightning shield, I finally got its 500th kill for Lightning Shield Mastery.
Oh my god, I got it. Let's go.
And then 35 minutes later of doing the same thing with Force Repulse, I got its 500th kill as well for Force Repulse Mastery.
Yes! Another one down.
Then I used the Grippy on level 1 for around another 30 minutes, and that passed us up the Force Grip Mastery trophy as number 43, and the second to last trophy I'll be doing for day 3. The last trophy for today was called Launched, and I got it a little under 10 minutes after the previous one, the 44th trophy, and the last one I'll be grinding mindlessly for. By the 4th and 5th days of playing this game, my sickness had progressed so awfully that I didn't feel up to streaming. You know, my voice is getting crackly and nasty, and so I do apologize for that, but it was still worth recording my reactions through the whole thing. For the next 2 sessions, I would be tackling Sith Master difficulty of the game, as well as collecting every holocron from every level, which I believe totals out to 115. The reason is that these also give you a ton of upgrade points for your skill trees. Also, doing the side objectives for each level 2 gives you more upgrade points as well. I made it my mission to do those too. So I had the Rooster Teeth guide up from way back in the day on my second monitor, my water in hand, a PS3 controller in the other, and since now I know which powers are the best powers, which abilities are worth saving up for, I feel pretty confident going in this time. So you know what it's time for. Time for me to condense nearly 9 hours of game into a short little Moonsout certified montage slapperoo of my feats and defeats from the campaign. Emphasis on the pain in campaign.
Dude, fuck you.
Let's just pause real quick. Here's proof I got all the holocrons. And that brings us all the way back down to our fateful decision, where instead of going to fight the Emperor, I go down to take all of Vader, Ringlia, Dragonfruit Hera back to Mustafar. The fight was a bit harder than I thought. Anytime you jump in the fight, he grippy you. and the mash is a lot harder to break out of than all of the other mashes in the game. But funnily enough, the circle button and the aerial ambush combos are the key. This means that 3 square presses into a long circle press will tend to lift Vader up where you proceed to wail on him. But eventually, around half of his health left, he starts countering the lift attack, and then this is where I learned you can start spamming circle until he staggers, freeing his guard up for another combo of your choice. This took me around 30 minutes, but clearing it gave me 3 specific trophies. Revenge is for taking the dark side path in the ending. Sith Master is for playing the difficulty I was on, and finally,
100% complete.
we fucking did it.
That's the end of it all.
100% completion of Star Wars The Force Unleashed. You know, thanks for tagging along for the video version of this playthrough. Just a few reminders before you go, I'm going to be 100% in games live right here on YouTube, so look out for notifications by subscribing, liking the video, and using the bell. And you can follow me on Twitter, and I'll tweet when streams are starting up and videos come out. Being there for streams and hanging out in chat keeps my ADHD in check and brings all of us some great free content along the way. It's always a ton of fun, man. And secondly, feel free to sound off in the comments if there's any games you'd like me to get 100% completion of, or all the achievements of, or all the platinum trophies of. If you recommend something I haven't considered before, I'll write you down and I'll shout you out if I end up doing it. Lastly, Patreon is the best way to directly support me. Think of it like a tip jar right now, but once I hit 10 patrons, $1 a month will get you early access to videos, as well as ad-free versions of them. I'll also write your name down here at the end like this. With that out of the way, thanks y'all. See y'all in the next one.